Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys so much for tuning into this brand new interview. I have with me someone very special, considering that he's been dominating on AEW Dark alongside with Griff Garrison, and of course in MLW, which they have their little restart coming up soon. But not only that, this man has been in the ring with some of the greats. I mean, he's been in the ring with Sean Spears, he's been in the ring with Brian Cage, he's been in tag team action, alongside with a lot of great AEW tag teams, alongside with the Butcher and the Blade, and the list goes on and on. But not only that, great independent wrestler as well. Started his career 3 years ago, and at the age of 27, killing it in professional wrestling. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only Brian Pillman Jr. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Just another day, another dollar. Monday, it's chest day. I'm gonna get out there, get a good workout in, for the people.
Of course. So, what's so interesting is that, again, I mentioned at such a young age, at 27 years old, you're killing it in the professional wrestling scene. Not only with that, but with Major League Wrestling as well, and of course with AEW. Like, how does it feel just to be, doing so much at such a young age?
It's a powerful feeling. Obviously, I've had so much help and resources along the way, and the best trainer in the world, Lance Storm. So I kind of set myself up to be ahead of the game as much as I could before I got started. You know what I mean? So I was kind of, taking all the steps that I needed to take to ensure my, the safety of my body and my health, and also to, protect myself as far as not being overexposed and stuff and everything. So it's a blessing to have the internet in these times too. It's possible for young talent to get themselves over, regardless of what promotion they're at. So people can express themselves, and I was able to express my story through pro wrestling and how it's affected my life, and how I eventually came around to wrestling. So I think that helped with my passion and my rise in the business, and my ability to work with a lot of good guys and to learn. So
Absolutely.
I'm very blessed, we'll say.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned before, just so many great matches thus far. But before we get into all of that, I do have what I call a spitball or fireball question. And this is just going to be the hardest hitting question probably of the entire interview. Are you still under contract with MLW right now?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I'm still under contract with them. So yeah, I've been working for whoever's wants to work with me. Even though MLW, I'm signed to them, it's a pretty liberal deal where I can do a lot of things. I'm not super exclusive to them. So
Yeah.
some of the later ones are, but this mine was a little older, and they were a little more lenient on what I could do. So I'm very happy and blessed for that too, that I'm able to do AEW, MLW, and OVW television all at the same time. So
Absolutely. And I think that 2020 is truly the year of Brian Pillman Jr. Obviously, at the start of the year, you were just, as your continued path to professional wrestling in the independent circuit. And then COVID had hit, and then there was really a halt in everything. So when that had first happened with the pandemic, what was your first thought process?
I mean, gosh, it was terrible. I mean, all our jobs were taken from us. We didn't have anything to look forward to. There was nothing on the weekend. There was no matches, So it kind of put a halt on everyone's career. But while it put a halt on people's careers as far as having matches and all that thing, I think it ignited a lot of fires in people as far as the other things that they can do to improve themselves, such as getting in shape and their fitness, and maybe people ordered some new gear and up their presentation value a little bit, So a lot of people took the pandemic to evolve and to get better. But I think I personally believe that I thrived in the adversity of it too, and I think I took the ball, and I think I made the most out of the pandemic. You know what I mean? I really came out of it a lot stronger, a lot faster, a lot smarter, a much better wrestler. I mean, if you look who I was in my last match pre-pandemic in Tijuana in Mexico, and then you look at who I am now, it's just the amount of evolution and time that I put into myself during that pandemic and during that time has made me a 10 times better performer. So it was all about who used it as an excuse and who used it as an opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people make excuses. I like to make opportunities.
Absolutely, and you have made the opportunities, like I mentioned before, of your appearances on AEW Dark, and not only that, AEW television as well, but also MLW, which is going to be starting up again soon. So again, just listing off these promotions that you are going to be participating in within the next couple of months is just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like I'm doing anything but just doing my job. I'm just working hard and doing my job, and all these people want to work with me. So it's like I'm not trying to sway anybody's opinion any other way about who I am. I just tell them straight up. I'm like, hey, I'm Brian Pillman Jr. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to work as hard as I can for you. I'm just like anybody else out here. I'm trying to become a star. I'm trying to get a job, and I'm trying to be somewhere for a very long time so we can tell some captivating stories. I'm not trying to be the guy that's jumping around and grabbing at every promotion I can get on. But when you're in a pandemic and it's survival mode, it's kind of all you can do, right? It'd be nice
Right.
to just be tied down somewhere and be there for the next 10 years or whatever. But we're in the middle of a transition period through the pandemic, and also through my contracts and stuff with other companies. So for right now, I'm just kind of doing what I can, surviving.
Of course. And not only that, but talk about the public reception that you have had. You've had a pretty good one, especially a lot of good public reception when Brian Pillman Jr. and when Griff Garrison were in the crowd for AEW Dynamite, and when the camera were put on you, you and Griff Garrison were doing the old Hollywood Blondes kind of tease there. Is there any possible way, any kind of sneak peek rumor that you can kind of confirm for us that the Hollywood Blondes will potentially be in either AEW or professional wrestling in general?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty much known that Griff and I are an established tag team right now. We're coming in. We've got 2 wins under our belt. We're 2-4, and while we don't have an official name yet, I think the prototype pilot name is just the Blondes. We're called. Tony calls us the Blondes. Get the Blondes out there, get them a win and stuff, and and that's what we are. We're athletes. We're focusing on winning matches. We're focusing on working together as a team. I've never been so organic in the ring with somebody, as a tag team. Maybe it's due to us having similar experience levels, similar body styles and stuff. So yeah, we work well together. We like to keep it very simple and physical and very strike oriented offense. But yeah, I think don't expect to maybe see like an exact copy of who the Hollywood Blondes were and their character, but who's to say that, it just so happened by fate that Griff Garrison comes in, we have a similar look, we both got the hair. Yeah, it's a perfect fit, right? We are the Blondes, right? But are we going to be the Jacksonville Blondes, the Cincinnati Blondes, the North Carolina Blondes? Or do we take another kind of theme like how they did Hollywood? Hollywood wasn't necessarily that they were from Hollywood. It was just a theme of, actors and, movies and stuff. They had that kind of themed blondes. So maybe we're the something blondes, right? We could take that. We could be the freaking the USS Blondes, and we're sailors, and we go out there and we wear sailor hats, and we're sailing around the US, and we're doing Jericho's cruise and everything. Or we could be the Varsity Blondes, where we're throwing footballs to each other and we're freaking playing lacrosse, and we're these collegiate athletes, like how he's the Ivy League athlete. So you never know where we go with it. We could be the Jacksonville Blondes and wear Jacksonville clothes and their sports gear. There's so many different ways you can go with it. There's so many possibilities. Why would you just go for the low hanging fruit and be the Hollywood Blondes? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Why copy that gimmick when there's a million gimmicks you can do with it? You know what I mean? We could be the rock and roll Blondes, and we come out with like a hair metal band. You never know. So I would just tell the fans to sit tight, relax and wait, because this is a story in and of itself. We're homegrown AEW tag team. So you guys are going to watch us grow from the very beginning. We've never had a single match outside of Daly's Place in Jacksonville. I've never seen Griff even at an indie show. I had no idea who this kid was. I get in there, we wrestle together as a tag team, and it's like butter. It's organic. We're still getting to know each other. I don't know a whole lot about him. I wish I knew more. Eventually we'll become a pretty tight tight knit group. And again, the blondes, there's unlimited possibilities. But yeah, maybe like a big tag match down the road where, you know, we're wrestling some guys and it's a big event. We might do like a whole Hollywood Blondes gear set, you know what I mean? Like a big throwback night, you know, one night only kind of thing.
Right.
But I'm too creative to just copy an entire gimmick, you know what I mean? I have too many ideas going around. I don't want to just redo the Hollywood Blondes, you know what I'm saying?
Of course. And, you know, speaking about that creativity, I think that creativity or that throwback or that homage to the Hollywood Blondes will come maybe sooner rather than later, because the new AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, had just won the titles from FTR recently. And I got to ask, are you and Griff going to go after those titles?
Well, you know, the theme of AEW is that tag team wrestling is the future. It is the now. It is the hottest thing going. So I don't think you go into a company like AEW without at least having your eyes on the tag team titles. You know, there's a lot of great singles wrestlers. I considered myself a singles wrestler prior to joining AEW, but you know, you come to find out, you know, maybe you would excel in a tag. You know, maybe adding in those variables and a little bit more chance and opportunity for different things to happen, different people to shine. So maybe being in a tag was my calling. So I don't have my eyes removed from anything. I'm looking at all the belts. You know, I'm looking at the TNT title, and I'm looking at the tag titles. But Griff and I, we have a long, you know, it's a long way to the top if you want to tag wrestle at AEW. You know, that's what they say. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And there's a lot of rock and roll going on at AEW. There's a lot of great tag teams. It's truly the most stacked roster there is. But to say that a couple young guys, 22 and 27 years old, are 2 and 4 in the most stacked tag team division in the world, well, we're 2 and 4. You know, we got a couple wins, so don't count us out. Don't count us out for one bit, and you'll just continue to see us gradually grow. Maybe the gear starts matching a little bit. You know, maybe we start coming out to our own song. Maybe next thing you know, we have a brand. You know, we have an official name. You know, so yeah. I think that our story is being told just with every match, with every entrance that we do. You know.
Absolutely. And speaking about that story and entrance themes in general, your entrance theme in particular is so unique and so cool because it's, you know, it's bulletproof, of course. And that was produced by Mikey Ruckus of AEW's music company. So when you were given that opportunity of coming out to your own theme music and kind of having your own gear when you made that AEW debut, was the feeling like a kid in the candy store, or what was that feeling?
You know, I love when I was first breaking into the business, I found it to be quite daunting. I didn't know that you had to like have all that creative control over stuff. You know, I thought it was sort of a burden to have to do music and gear. And I always thought WWE like gave you your gear and shit. Like, but now that I've, you know, very well informed and fleshed out into the business, I love the creative process. I love that I get to design like myself and order and have a seamstress or a gear maker make my own gear. I love that creative process. And I've learned to love the creative process of working with Mikey on the music. And he's so creative with the music that he makes, and he takes my ideas and he brings them to life. And I'm like, wow, so I do have some valid input here. I do have some valid creativity that goes towards this music. And then again, too, when they put the walls together and the projector, you know, Titantron stuff too, like all that builds into the creative process, and it's really cool to see it come to life when your gear matches with your music and your music matches with your wall, and then you got some T-shirts coming out. Everything kind of looks and feels the same, and you have your brand. It's a beautiful thing when it all comes together.
Absolutely. And then once you hear bulletproof in the song, and then you just come out, you know, again, with some awesome singles matches that you've produced also in AEW Dark with Eddie Kingston, Sean Spears, like I mentioned before. Just the way that you've been performing on AEW Dark and also AEW Dynamite, I think it's absolutely amazing how much that you've been progressing and showcasing that passion in professional wrestling.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a great canvas. You know, it's an incredible group of guys, an incredible ring. I really like wrestling there.
Absolutely. And then speaking about wrestling, of course, you did mention about Lance Storm and his wrestling academy. What was it like training under someone like Lance Storm, who has been in the business for so long?
Lance is just, I mean, that's the thing. He said he's been in the business so long. He refuses to leave the business. He loves the business. His opinion will always be valued in the business. And it's just like, it's a credibility thing, you know, when you say that that's who trained you, well, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what you're doing when you go out there, you know. Now he probably trained some students that were better than me and probably some students that were worse than me, but the fact of the matter is we all left there with a great idea about the history of this business, a great idea about where it's going, and a great idea about how to get over and how to have a safe and effective wrestling match, you know. So I don't think there's any better trademark to put, you know. I don't think there's any better trainer to say you had, you know. It's hard to say, oh well, this guy trained me, this, that, and the other, but when people hear that you were trained by Lance Storm, it's high praise. You know, it's a very, very high honor.
Absolutely. And once again, just having that knowledge, having that guidance from someone like Lance Storm is just, it's so great just to have that kind of veteran guidance and that kind of like, this is the right way to do it and to kind of bring you into that right direction.
Absolutely. Safety first, and then teamwork.
Of course. Now, once again, Brian, I do want to thank you for being a part of this interview and all that. But before we go, I do have one more question for you.
Absolutely.
And that is, you know, without, you know, throughout your career, you know what I mean, from the start of your professional wrestling career and going forward, what's the goal?
The goal, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and I need to figure it out for myself right now because really during the pandemic it was just to survive, you know. It was just, oh, you gotta survive, like this is it, like I can't make any money, I can't pay my bills, I can't make any money. I never had a shoot job after I started wrestling, you know. My whole life I did, you know. When I was 15 I did dishes under the table, you know what I mean, at a restaurant, and then I worked at Starbucks's and things in different points of my life, and so I've had plenty of jobs. I used to be a scribe, basically. I used to do legal title work, title examinations for real estate shit. So it's like, but once I became a wrestler, it all flowed so fast and it all took off so quickly that I never had to go back to working. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, holy shit, like I'm not going to let this adversity take my life away from me. I'm not going to, you know, go back to working a job, like a regular job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just sort of a pride thing. You know, I developed this career and this brand and in this global reach and this internet community, and people are buying merch and stuff. And it's like all of a sudden there's no more wrestling shows. You mean to tell me wrestling's canceled? It's like, not on my watch, you know? So after 2 months of feeling sorry for myself, I just said, you know what, we're going to get back at it. But now that we're back at it, now that my main goal was to survive, the goal to survive quickly transitioned into the goal of getting a job, right? So my goal was always to get a job at a company. Obviously, I had a job at MLW, but you know, with the pandemic, that caused some issues and stuff and some insecurities here. So I was like, you know what? My goal was to get a job at AEW. That was my biggest goal. You know, I was never setting my sights too high. I wasn't trying to say I want to be the champ or this, that, or the other. I just wanted to be able to survive. You know, I just wanted to be able to pay my bills and have a nice job. So I think we're still in the process of getting a job. But as we get closer and closer to that goal, I think it's important to set a new goal for myself. And I think the biggest goal and the most thing my mind has been on right now is getting this tag team solidified, getting our gear matching, getting our music playing, and getting our entrances down. But as far as being in the ring and wrestling, like shit, like we work so well together. I don't know what to tell you. Like it would be a different case if we like were clunky and we didn't have a lot of ideas and we weren't like very gelling well in the ring. But it seems to just kind of go, and it's a pleasure working with Griff. But yeah, I think if anything, my vision and my goal has switched from focusing on being a singles competitor to really wanting to iron out this tag team. It's kind of a unique challenge, you know, to form a tag team and to make it all come together. You know, you got so many moving parts and things. So I'm really excited to see the future of this tag team.
Absolutely. Well, once again, you guys could follow Pillman on any social media platform. Flying Brian 41 on Instagram, and of course on Twitter as well. I believe it's the same one, or it could be a different one, but it'll be in the descriptions below. So make sure you guys do that as well. Make sure you guys go check him out every single Tuesday, every single Wednesday, wherever you could find AEW. Not only that, MLW. Not only that, but just the independent wrestling promotions as well. So make sure you guys go check them out. Once again, Brian, thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And we will see you guys again in the next interview.
Hell yeah.